Hey y'all. Okay. I want to share something in the description. I mean it's Wikipedia, but it'll there's that and I'll get into what I've come across. Um which in the index that's the only page that it said that Freemasons are mentioned on. So, well I mean the first page that is mentioned on, that's the only page that the index says that Freemasons is mentioned on. I said that right. Okay. So a few things. Visited my Facebook. It was 6 years ago that the Sun did a report on someone, and um, and it looks like he had waited till the last minute to do the report on the person. And actually, what he said was he was looking at the date of birth that he had been born on, or whatever. I mean the year, well, whatever. And then he said this man's gonna die soon, and then it was like the next day that he died. So I thought that was interesting. And then I did notice, and I looked at the person. I don't even know. I don't know who they were. I didn't even check them out. But anyways, so I had mentioned that before. I'm trying to think if I had anything else, because here soon I'll probably just try to reshare some of the things I've already shared. But trying to think of that. Okay. Um, to go back. Now, if you've seen the video, catch up. It's talking about how I met the Eastern Stars lady. And I'll eventually talk about how the conversation come up, when I bring up the card. I mean, her running my ID or whatever. I'll bring that up later. But, when I leaned in, I said Cops Masons. She asked me what? And then I said Cops Masons. She was like, well, they're supposed to be. Now, the next thing that she had said was that they're supposed to be there for us sisters. I think that's how she worded it. Then she said what she was. I think that's about how it went. So that's why I was like, I just let her speak, because just, they were listening. The young ladies that were working there, they were like listening. But so when she said that, I'm thinking in the back of my mind, like, well, they really weren't there for me. So when she said that, and then she kept going, I mentioned in the video that she said someone can use her card. I thought that's how she worded it, but then she said just once. So I was like, well, I could just use it just once. Like, so, I don't know. So there's that. So that just shows and tells that if you're not in the club, then, you know, so that just adds on to all that, I guess. Then, to get pulled over a week and a half after that, um, and like I said before, I didn't tell my dad about all that, about the lady and all that. And then I get pulled over a week and a half later, but I did tell my dad about getting pulled over. And I told my dad, it's like I went off on him. He was like, you shouldn't have done that. And then I told him, I was like, I drove off. And I told my dad, I was like, well, I was praying to God as I drove off, thanking God to give me the courage to do it. You know? I mean, I've always been respectful to them. And I pretty much have always done what they wanted me to do in any stupid situation, really. And they weren't there except for just a few times. That's why I say the county was a whole lot nicer. The small town cops, they were the worst. And, for her to say it like that, or for her to say that, and then for me to say what I said the other day about, let me get another police force. I mean, they're just all work together. And then so it is really nervous to me for the smaller town cops to be the worst, because they're in smaller towns. Because they don't look like good guys to me. They look like bad guys to me. And if you had to be in a club. So when I ended up getting the cops called on me after all that at AT&T, I didn't want to give the cop my ID. I really did not. I was shaking because that goes to the flashback of one of the last few times of dealing with the cops in the smaller town. And I was going to eventually get into that so y'all could understand just a little bit more, at least about that part. But I was, by then I was shaking because of how the flashback worked and stuff or whatever. And so it just was not fun, and it was scary. Like I had brought it up before, that when I was talking to my dad about it, that, telling him this is how flashbacks work. And even though nothing happened then, but in the flashback, something happened or something, well, nothing happened, but I'm just trying to show and tell that since the flashback had happened, I didn't know what he came back for or whatever. So, but I'll eventually talk about that story, so y'all can have a better understanding, because it had never been like that bad with like other people or whatever. Like that was like worse than anything else, which is weird. It's weird for me because of all the other stuff that I've had to go through. So, but okay. I'm pretty sure there's a few other things I was going to talk about, but I wanted to bring up that and share that, and I'll get to what I come across anyways. And then that's about it. All right, I'll see y'all soon. God bless.